Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Okay, today we start out with answering some questions, some YouTube questions. There's one. Go ahead, YouTube.
Yes, Cordelia asks, in the Earth Store Sutra, Master mentioned Bodhisattva's teaching is no thinking, which includes contemplation as it strikes a thought, which creates a mind karma. What is this in respect to contemplative wisdom?
Contemplative wisdom. Okay. Literary wisdom, contemplative wisdom, and prajna wisdom. Okay, fine. Repeat the question again, please. I don't remember what I said in the Earth Store Sutra, and that's a long, long time ago.
So Cordelia asks, in the Earth Store Sutra, Master mentioned the Bodhisattva teaching is no thinking, which includes contemplation as it strikes a thought, which creates a mind karma. So what is this in respect to contemplative wisdom?
Okay. Did I say all that? Gee, that's pretty advanced. There were people like that in the audience several years ago? Unlikely. All right. Buddhist training is about opening your wisdom so that you do the right things. Okay? Because what happens is when you are confused, when you are deluded, you commit a lot of offenses, which result in a lot of suffering for you. Okay? We suffer as a result of the past offenses, the past bad deeds we created. And this has been happening for a long, long time. And that's why in the Earth Store Sutra, which is a sutra about in particular the health. The Earth Store Sutra, you learn about these, in one section talked about so many types of health, infinite types of health, because these healths are created in response to your karmic retributions. So typically, it's not uncommon, for example, for people like me, like us, monks and nuns, we took the vows to not to be pure and not to commit a lot of offenses. However, we still commit offenses out of stupidity, out of delusions. As a result of that, most of us, when we die, we will fall down to the hells. That's just fact of life. When you go down to the hells, you find out that a lot of the hell residents are actually ex-monks and nuns. If they're Chinese or Vietnamese, you find on top of their head, there's some holes here. Okay, the burn holes on the top of the heads. We don't do that anymore in our world because I find it to be too painful. I refuse to endure pain when it's not necessary. Okay, so typically the Asians, after they become fully ordained, they made these burns on the top of the skulls, and these holes in rows, and it's very, very painful. And so you go down to the hells, you see a lot of these hell dwellers have these holes on their heads, so you can tell they are ex-monks and nuns. That's what happens. When you lack wisdom, you will create offenses, and as a result, you will go to the hells to endure torture, to endure suffering for those karmic offenses. In some cases, the offenses are lighter, so you get back to the human realm eventually, and you endure a lot of suffering. For example, the COVID-19 is a form of suffering, a form of sickness from the karmas we created in the past. If you didn't create bad karmas at all, the COVID-19 cannot harm you at all. No way. Okay? So the Bodhisattvas and Buddhas know that, and so they come to our world in order to teach Buddhism, teach meditation. We have a newbie here. Tell her not to be afraid to wear masks, okay? And because we don't want to infect her at all. But after people have been here for a while, they said, no, we infect the virus. The virus cannot infect us. We harm the virus. Well, anyway, give it time. Okay, so feel free. Okay, do not feel that you have to take off your mask and so forth, because protect yourself. Don't take any chances. We're perfectly fine with that. All right. So that's why the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas they open the wisdom through meditation. That's a very Buddhist thing. We teach you things that we know. We don't talk about theories. The true teachers are the ones who teach you from their own experience. They don't just read a book and teach you about it. Okay, so that's why in the Buddhist training, in the meditation training in particular as well, okay, our Mahayana style of training, which is by far, bar none, the Wei-Yang is probably the most advanced really type of training, meaning that don't be taken aback by the word most advanced. It means that it can accommodate from low level to very, very high level. Okay, the same thing. You go to university to get a degree. You want to make sure to find out how far can I go, okay, before you commit, because it matters. If you build a skyscraper, okay, you intend to build a skyscraper, the foundation has to be built properly first. You cannot rebuild the foundation. Okay, so that's why when you learn meditation, you have to be careful as to how you build the foundation. And so our style of meditation, we really our foundation is extremely solid. Okay. In Mahayana, when you go to, by the way, later in the afternoon, you go into the Flower Adornment Sutra, the ultimate Buddhist wisdom there. Once the Buddha becomes a Buddha, Buddha came from people like us, okay? Flesh and bones, suffering and unhappy and all the ikkiya things. But once he became Buddha, the sages, they saw that where he sat under the Bodhi tree, the ground is made of what? Vajra. It's the hardest substance, okay, in the universe. Nothing can break it, nothing, except Vajra. Even Vajra can't break Vajra. Okay, and so you see, ultimate wisdom. That's the highest level, that's the highest purpose of meditation. Chan meditation is that. Okay, you can go as far as the highest possible level of attainment, which along with it comes wisdom. So far, so good. Okay, so you understand that. Okay, then how do we impart the wisdom to you? How do we help you develop that wisdom? In order for you, with that wisdom, you can easily become a more effective teacher, a better engineer, more wonderful mother who does not lose her temper against her loving son. That's part of the wisdom. Okay? So wisdom permeates everything we do during the day. So how do we help you develop the wisdom? Monks and nuns, Sunim, it's time for you to demonstrate to us what you've learned. How is wisdom imparted to the trainees, to the students? Okay, I see that no one really knows. Right now is Q&A. Go ahead.
Good morning, Master Emitofuo. Is it through our great compassion?
Okay, a little bit louder, please.
Good morning, Emitofuo.
Better, yes. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Is it through our great compassion because we become more caring, understanding the kindness that we can help them?
Yes, that's part of it. But even before that, even before you talk about compassion and kindness and the great compassion mantra, which help you develop those qualities that makes you a superior human being. The way we impart wisdom, we give you wisdom is through, like right now, talking. Okay? We tell you that this part is called literary wisdom, meaning that we tell you about what is the right thing, what is wrong, what is right. Same thing you have to do with your children. Part of your responsibilities as parents is to help them develop wisdom, because who else is going to do it? Okay? Meaning that that you have to tell them this is right, this is wrong. No, don't do this, do that. Okay? And that's part of literary wisdom, is to tell them what's right and wrong. Okay? And that better yet, if you next level is when you meditate, then you behave accordingly. Not just talk, you actually do the walk as well. Okay? That's the best form of education, by the way. That's how we as parents, we as teachers, impart wisdom to our students, to our children. You understand that? You know, and please pay attention because that's very important. If you want to be a good teacher, you want to be to really you want to train the next generation properly. We are supposed to give them wisdom. Okay? And that's what we're doing. After we meditate, okay, we spend 20 minutes for my students, for me, I spend an hour talking to you. That's the giving of wisdom. Okay, it's called literary wisdom. We tell you what is the wisdom, what is that set of insights that is a universal knowledge of the sages. All sages throughout the universe have the same type of wisdom. This very same thing. Okay? And you don't know about that, so that's why we first have to tell you about it. What are the examples? Examples are rules of karmas, cause and effect. You do something good, you get good results later. You do something bad, you have to pay for it later, because bad things are going to happen to you and you suffer. You do good things, you will be happy. Yeah. So just today you're happy and you're comfortable is because in the past you created some good karmas. Okay? And you will find that that rule is a universal rule throughout the universe. Okay? That's wisdom. Okay? Because when I was younger, all I was told is that I had to be successful. I had to get degrees and become successful. No one ever told me, my parents never told me that I'm supposed to do the right things. Because unless you do the right things, you'll never know happiness. It's impossible. Okay? Doesn't matter how rich you are, how smart you are. If you keep on doing the wrong things, you'll never be happy. Think about it. Okay? So we spend our entire lives chasing after things. Okay? And creating more, doing more and more bad things, and becoming more and more unhappy, and we wonder why. What did I do my entire life? How come I'm unhappy? And I see the same thing happening to my children as well. I give it on to my children. You see, so the sages, they came to our world in order to tell us about these insights. They verified for themselves. So far, so good. That's called literary wisdom, meaning that you can read it, you can hear about it, okay, from the sages. Not just for just anyone, it's from the sages. You can only trust the sages. You only want to trust the sages. Don't trust people like me, okay? Unless I say, oh, this sage said so and so. That's when you pay attention. But when you hear the I think so and so, then you ignore it because they have no wisdom whatsoever. You understand that? There's a huge difference. Okay? When the sages say something, it's out of wisdom. When confused people say something, you can ignore it. So far, so good. So the first type of things you have to learn is literary wisdom. Okay? So even you, Sunims and monks and nuns, you may not have the ultimate wisdom yet, but if you repeat the same thing as the sages say, then you're doing your jobs. Is that clear? When it's time for you to teach, that's what you do. Okay? So when I first started, I started teaching Chan by repeating or massaging what my late Chinese teacher taught when he taught Chan, his Chan teachings. I just massaged it and made some interpretation. But it's basically, the core of that is basically the teaching from a sage. Okay? Now, that's called literary wisdom. This is why you understand we put so much emphasis, okay, on your sitting for an hour, okay, which will help your mind settle down. Then we feed you with words of wisdom. This is very critical process. This is why people, they go to a place. I went to New York, and you go to a place, you sit there for an hour, and you pay $40, okay, per head, and you feel good, you recharge yourself, and you walk away. It's sort of like taking a sip of wine and not swallowing it, you will, okay? If you have wisdom, you would swallow. If you have no wisdom, you just take a sip of wine and you spit it out again, okay? It's a waste of time. All right? So that's the difference. This is why we put so much emphasis, I put so much emphasis the last 15 years on talking to you for an hour after every sit, which is excessive, by the way. My master never spent this much time talking to you, but I'm impatient. I cannot afford to wait for you for 50 years like my master did. I'm hoping to retire very, very soon. Q&A.
Di Đà Phật. Dạ, kính thưa thầy. Thưa thầy, một người hành giả tu tập khi nào thì biết rằng mình được khai mở trí huệ, hay là phải nhờ vị thầy cho biết? A Di Đà Phật.
Master, for a cultivator, when will they know that they already open up their wisdom, or they will have to wait for the teacher to tell them so?
All right. So you know you have wisdom when, first of all, you begin to internalize the sage's teaching. Begin to see that you begin to use those sagely teachings, the literary wisdom. That's first part, the literary wisdom. If you begin to talk like that, okay, then you have wisdom. You have something called literary wisdom. Next level wisdom, it doesn't stop there. Literary wisdom is still based on what? Your thinking mind. Is that clear? Because you have to think. You say, how do I help my son? Okay, because he doesn't listen to me. Okay, and then I don't know how to help a son who doesn't listen to you. So it's a bad example. However, if you can offer that kind of solution, okay, that's called literary wisdom. Okay, because it's still based on thinking. So far, so good. Next level wisdom. So you know if your first level answers, if your thinking, your understanding is consistent with the sage's teachings, that is called literary wisdom. You have wisdom. So we all can have that level of wisdom, by the way. Okay? So that's why you monks and nuns, you teachers of Chan, you make sure that whatever you say is consistent with the sage's teaching, then you're teaching the proper wisdom. So far, so good. Okay? You don't need to make up things. All you have to do is say the same thing as the sages are saying, and you quote them properly. Then you're doing the right thing. All right? Next level of wisdom is that Chan meditation doesn't stop there. Next thing we do is that we help you verify it. So far, so good. Part of literary wisdom, by the way, is something called emptiness. Meaning that emptiness. Everything is empty. If it doesn't make sense to you, now it will. Okay? Because that's the next level of wisdom called contemplative wisdom. It's a wisdom that enables you to see that things are empty. Your wife is empty, I like to say. Any problems? Oh, Korea is still sleeping. Okay? Your daughter's empty. Any problems? See, you have a problem, that means that you do not have contemplative wisdom. Very straightforward. Let's not beat around the bush. You cannot see it's empty. You cannot see emptiness, then you have no contemplative wisdom. Because that's what happens. You see a child there, okay? It's real to us. It's flesh, it's hair, it's moving, it's alive, okay? Even, never mind. And so you see a person there through our sense organs. But when you contemplate the child, okay, you will open, you enter samadhi, you will open your contemplative wisdom, and you see that the child is actually empty. What does it mean when you see the child is empty? Trung Yin Sunim, when the child is empty, what happens when you see the child is empty? I notice you walk by and you look at the girl and say, you smile. That's not Korean at all. You're not supposed to smile. Okay, we're serious. What would people think? We smile too often. We're too happy. We're not supposed to be happy. Beggars are not supposed to be happy. Okay, never mind, but I forgive you. What happens? Answer with a question. Is there a translation or?
Yes, Master.
Okay. You understand my English?
The translator 상옥수님 now, right now.
Okay. Translate to Korean first. Yes.
아이들이 놀 때 그 노는 것에 빠져서 그 아이들이 행복한 그 상태를 보면은 그때 공하다는 것을 그 상태에서 보고 있습니다.
Sounds serious.
Sir, I saw the emptiness in child when
Wow, the special sound effect
play
is so cool.
and they do.
Very good, YongHua. I love the special sound effect. You see the emptiness.
Master, I saw the emptiness in children when they play.
Sounds like the voice from the hells. I'm hurting so much. Male voice.
Master, I saw the emptiness in children when they play and feel happy.
If you see emptiness, how can you see happiness? No. YouTube answer.
유튜브 답변.
Let's not overdo it, okay?
Elta D says, it means the child does not have its own individual nature.
Sounds like it's from a book somewhere. It's literary wisdom. It's not contemplative wisdom. I'm asking about contemplative wisdom, not literary wisdom. Yes, the child is empty, meaning it's not really a child there. Actually, it's it's amalgamation of flesh, of atoms, of molecules, of chemicals, and so forth, put together, and then we put a soul in it and animate him like Frankenstein. No, let me explain to you. Do we have another answer?
Yes, we have another answer from Cordelia.
Yes.
Cordelia says, it means you are not attached to the child.
Exactly. That's, you see the child, she's happy, having a good time, okay? And that's reality in front of your eyes. However, when you contemplate, you enter samadhi, okay, you see emptiness, meaning that you are no longer attached to the child. And that's called wisdom. You have no attachment to the child. Because when that sunim there, that Korean monk there, smiled at the baby, I saw that he liked the child. That's an attachment. Okay? A weakness. But if he enters samadhi, okay, and using contemplation, then he'll be able to see the child is actually inherently, fundamentally empty. Therefore, he can let go of this liking of the child. Does it make sense? The liking is real. But you can choose to keep it or you can choose to let go. Okay? Keeping it is to live normally. But if you use your contemplative wisdom, you can free yourself from the burden of attaching to that liking, attaching to the child. Does it make sense? Can someone see how useful that is? YouTube question.
Elta D asks, does it mean that the child is only Buddha nature, or is Buddha nature also empty?
No, has nothing to do with Buddha nature or Buddha nature is empty. It has something to do with you. How clear-headed you are. Because if you like the child, then you favor the child. You act according to your liking. You are committed. Okay? Meaning you favor that child over other children. Okay? And therefore you're not fair in treating the children anymore. Right? You favor one child over the others. And that's the nature of attachment. The mother, of course, will favor her own child over the other children. That's an attachment. Okay? So contemplative wisdom is a level of wisdom of a fourth-stage arhat, where you're able to let go of your attachments. Okay? Never mind about a child, which is difficult for you to understand. How about money? Okay? Who's attached to money? See? I'm attached to money. Okay? And that's normal. We're supposed to be attached to money. It's hard-earned money. But when necessary, when we need to make a decision, if you decide based on your attachment to money, you'll be more risk-averse, you're afraid to lose money, you're afraid people will steal from you, and all those fears. Yes? And those mistrusts of others. Yes? And you make your wife sign prenuptial agreement and all those things. Okay, because the attachment of money, you behave accordingly. Okay. However, if you have contemplative wisdom, okay, you see that money is empty, and therefore you can make decisions with a more clear-headed mind. You will, you make better investment decisions. You choose a better husband, okay? Because if you only, for example, God forbids, you're only looking for financial security, and you say, okay, I choose to marry a guy who is rich and so forth. Okay, that's your decision. And once you get married, you find out actually he has a lot of faults that will make your becoming rich not worth it. You see that? Is this a good example or not? No, never happened to you. Okay, so that's why wisdom is important, because it helps you make the right decisions and do the right things. All right, so that's. And as you meditate, as you practice meditation, your wisdom level will increase. So accordingly, from literary wisdom to contemplative wisdom, okay, it will naturally evolve and reach higher and higher until you reach the contemplative wisdom level where you actually see emptiness. You can drop things at will, okay? You can like a child so much. You can like money so much. You can like food so much. Anyone like food? No? Okay, just me. Okay? And you like it so much, and then you can instantly destroy that liking, just like that. by entering this samadhi called the fourth stage art samadhi, where you experience emptiness, and therefore this craving for food disappears instantaneously. That saves a lot of money. Think about all the money you save in liposuction. Never mind. You guys are weird. Yeah. You see? So wisdom is very useful. You're not convinced. Oh, good Lord, this audience is very hard today. Yes, number 3.
네, 마스터. 저의 경우는 좋은 것에 대한 내려놓음은 좀 빨리 되는데, 제가 싫어하고 거부하는 것에 대한서는 좀 이렇게 빨리빨리 내려놓지 못하는 경향이 있는 것 같습니다. 이럴 땐 어떻게 해야 되는지 말씀 주십시오.
Okay, the translation will be next coming from the house.
Go Forest, could you please unmute yourself?
What happened? They don't translate anymore? There's some... Unmute yourself. The translator is from Korea, so in the future, we add some electrical, hook it up to a battery, and administer electrical shocks when she makes a mistake. Still no? They can't figure it out?
First, 예. 제가 처음 오신 분이 통역을 해주셔서 감사드리고요. 제가 다시 질문드립니다. 저희 같은 경우는 좋아하는 것에 대해서는 집착이 그렇게 강하지 않은데, 싫어하는 것에 대해서 좀 집착이 되게 강한데, 이것을 어떻게 해결할 수 있는지 질문드리고 싶습니다.
So she said, if there is something she likes, she can easily let it go. But when there is something she dislikes, it's not easy to let it go. So her question was, what can be the solutions for that?
Very good. As I was saying, as your level increases, you begin to see more things that are empty. You don't have to wait until you get to fourth stage arhat, where everything is empty. You begin to see things are 80% empty, 90% empty as you progress closer and closer. You see that? Until fourth stage arhat, 100% empty, everything. So far, so good? Is the translation in Korean or not? Okay, never mind. We dropped the Koreans today. Okay. Oh, it's the transmission. No? No translation? Okay. Go ahead, you too.
Heidi asks, when meditating, sometimes I notice that I recite the Buddha name faster and my breathing was fast too. Should I slow down?
No. Slow up. Q&A. I mean speed up, not slow up.
Master, I would like to say something about the COVID and Prajna. So nowadays, the pandemic COVID in Vietnam is getting worse, and then a lot of people die. So the rate they die, a lot of people die to the point like they have to stack the body one on top of another, and then they have to put it in the container. And then my friend, my acquaintance, they start sending me a lot of the picture of the people die like that.
Yes.
Cho nên á, trong lòng con có
So in the past, whenever I see that, I will be so scared. But nowadays, I can contemplate on emptiness, and they say like all of the Dharma are empty. So if there is something was born, it will be die.
Và trong lòng con yên ổn, nhưng mà đồng thời con cũng thấy rằng khi mà mình ở trong cái yên ổn đó thì mình thiếu từ bi hay sao? A Di Đà Phật. Khi mà quán không trước những cái xác chết nhiều như vậy đó thì không có còn sợ nữa. Nhưng mà đồng thời con tự hỏi, khi mình không khiếp sợ thì mình yên ổn như vậy á, thì mình có phát khởi được tấm lòng từ bi hay không?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear from Discord. It's impossible to me to understand what she said. I'm sorry, something wrong with Discord.
Okay, we have a lot of moving parts, lots of things that it's amazing, and that you can all put it together, given your level of sophistication and a lack of training. But basically, she says that she used to be scared by looking at so many bodies and photos of those many bodies and hearing horror stories like that. But now she can meditate, and the fear will go away because you see all those things are empty. But the question she has is would that be lacking in compassion? Okay, very good. He's fine. He just needs attention. Kiss the boo-boo. All right. Yes, and that's correct. This is why it's useful. Because remember, as you practice, you will, as your level of samadhi increases, okay, then you will become more detached when it's necessary for you to clear your head. Because low-level people cannot. They basically cannot help themselves. You put a gory image in front of them, they become scared and they're frozen. Okay, it's nothing they can do. You put a plate of a succulent steak in front of them, and there's nothing else they can think of. You see, so they're victims of external things. Whereas the people with some chan skills, they can become realize they can realize that, and they can enter samadhi. They enter the samadhi so that they can clear the head immediately. Okay, so that's what happens. If you still have attachments like that, that means your level is still not high enough yet. So keep progressing. You see, you become more detached when necessary. Okay, that's what happened to this lady. She says, I used to be so scared looking at these gory photos. Okay, and that's how I used to train myself. Watching gory movies. Freddy. Oh, never mind. So So you can empty yourself. Okay, you can experience a state of emptiness to restore your balance, to restore your clarity of mind. However, in that state of mind, you disconnect yourself from the outside world, meaning that people are suffering. You say, suffering is your suffering. I am empty. I have experienced no suffering. So there's a disconnect between you, okay, and the outside world. The emptiness there is a disconnect. You choose to disconnect yourself, okay? And that is fine if you are an arhat. However, for us Chan people, that's not good enough. Because what good is it if you are a mother, you come here, you learn Chan meditation from us, and you can experience a state of emptiness, okay? So that when your child is suffering, when your husband is suffering, and all you say, I'm not suffering, it's not my problem, then what kind of person are you? It's not acceptable to us. You shouldn't be like that, okay? It should be better than that, okay? So that's the next level wisdom, okay? That's higher than contemplative wisdom, where actually you continue to meditate and make progress, and you reach a level where it's called prajna wisdom, where you actually have some real wisdom, okay? Some really useful wisdom, that wisdom can be used to benefit everyone, okay? All right. So in the case in San Jose, in Vietnamese, there the Vietnamese lady continue to practice. You on the path to developing a prajna wisdom right there. Or if you happen to go to the Pure Land before it's developed, Amitabha Buddha will pick it up from here, okay, from where you are right now, and teach you to continue to develop that kind of wisdom, prajna wisdom. YouTube question.
Is samadhi correlated to attachment? So if your samadhi is higher, the less you are moved by marks?
That's right. This is why it's critical in our world to continue to develop your samadhi power, because the higher level of samadhi you develop, okay, the more freedom you will experience. Freedom, real freedom, is samadhi power. It's not material things at all. Money will not give you freedom. Freedom, as worldly people call it, is actually attachments. Actually, it's shackles. Okay? People say, I want to save a lot of money so that I can be free. But no, you can be free from certain things, but you're still a slave to your money. Okay? And so it's not real freedom at all. Okay? Actually, it's enslavement. You're free from worrying about small things like buying a car. Okay? It's not a big of a deal for you to buy a car. However, you're still scared to lose money. Okay, so it's no real freedom at all. All right. Anything else? Yes, Green from San Jose. They're experiencing a lot of technical difficulties.
Câu hỏi là mình quán không như vậy thì không có từ bi thì làm sao? Thì lời Đức Phật dạy rõ ràng trong kinh Phổ Môn là mình quán rồi thì phải làm gì nữa? Là phải bi quán, cập từ quán, thường nguyện, thường chiêm ngưỡng. Cô nhẫn dịch đi cô.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear him and I don't understand what he say.
Đức Phật dạy là sau khi mình quán tưởng là thanh dạy mình quán
Discord has problem. I cannot hear it.
vậy là kỹ thuật thôi. Cô không nghe phải không? Có nghe được không Tấn?
I don't want to translate either. It's too close to my lunch time. You're making it so complicated.
Ở đây không có gì mà nghe nói. A Di Đà Phật, con nghe chưa cô Nhẫn? Đức Phật dạy là cô Nhẫn nghe chưa? Cô nói cô nghe cái biểu nói mà. Mấy trang mấy người kỳ quá. Thì Đức Phật dạy là sau khi mình tu như vậy đó, cái phẩm sau của phẩm môn mà dạy mình là chân quán, thanh tịnh quán, bi quán, tập từ quán. Chúng ta làm hàng ngày mà chúng ta còn hỏi nữa. Sau khi tụng kinh xong, sau khi trì chú xong là cái gì? Trì chú công đức thừ thắng hạnh vô biên, thắng phước giai hồi hướng, phổ nguyện trầm nê chú chúng sanh tốc giảng vô lượng quang Phật sát, phải không? Đó là bi quán, cặp từ quán chứ gì nữa. Mình tội nghiệp người ta, mình từ là mình cho cái phước báo đó cho người ta. Thì quý vị hàng ngày làm biết bao nhiêu công đức, niệm Phật, niệm kinh, trì chú, thì hồi hướng cho mấy người Covid. Thay vì cả tiếng đồng hồ đi bà Tám nói chuyện tào lao thì mình niệm, đi đứng nằm ngồi niệm. Bây giờ tôi cho mấy người bị Covid nè, chết thì được giảng sanh siêu thoát, hay sanh nhàn cảnh, còn sống thì được mạnh khỏe, mau hết bệnh. Đâu cần phải đắc thần thông, đắc cái mà giác ngộ mới làm được chuyện đó đâu. Đức Phật dạy mình đó. Mà hàng ngày chúng ta trong công phu chư tổ cũng vậy đó. Trì chú tụng kinh xong, cái giảng kinh xong, tất cả đứng dậy làm, mỗi ngày mỗi làm. Phổ nguyện trầm nê chư chúng sanh tốc giảng vô lượng quang Phật sát. Bây giờ khoan tốc giảng vô lượng quang Phật sát, về mấy người đang Covid đó cho người ta đi. Rồi người nào chết rồi giờ cho giảng sanh mà mình không đủ giảng sanh thì họ cũng ít nhất họ cũng được một chút nào đó. Còn hơn mình đi tào lao rồi mình lo sợ. Xin lỗi.
So, in the Universal Door chapter, the Buddha taught us to contemplate on purity, contemplate on compassion and kindness. And then, so usually after you recite the mantra and you recite the Buddha's name, you transfer the merit and virtue to those who are suffering. So the same way, you can transfer your merit and virtue to those who are infected with COVID. And then with the blessing, it can help them to recover and get better. Or the one that already died, they will have a chance to go to the Pure Land. You don't have to wait until you have the spiritual power or attain enlightenment or whatever. You just need to follow the Buddha's teaching. After you practice, you transfer the merit and virtue to them. That's how you can help them.
In short, you have nothing to worry about. This Chan training here will give you the proper foundation to keep on progressing from literary wisdom, okay, to know the right things, to practice wisdom, to contemplative wisdom, where you can detach from things to clear your head, okay, the very useful skill to be able to clear your head at will. Don't you think? When you need to make a serious decision, you clear your head first. Right? Okay. So, and then in the process, you continue to the training, the practice, you get the next level where you actually develop wisdom, kindness, joy, renunciation, all those good things. Okay. So inherently in this process, in our style of Wei Yang training, it's built in. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, we talk about this. This is in order to differentiate and remind people who are unsure about why we do this. Okay, to explain to them that this is the pathways. This is the big picture. This is the whole picture, not just the small gains that you get from meditation. Okay, this is the big kahunas. You deserve to get all these wonderful things, and that's what Chan meditation is about. Okay, it's about helping you realize your full potential. Don't settle for less. You only settle for less because you didn't know better. Okay, and so the question about how do I develop wisdom and kindness, it's built in. It's nothing to worry about. It's just so many things that will naturally occur. It's not just contemplation. So the whole process is based on building a proper foundation for you to get there. Okay? So, yes, it's a good thing to know that you don't quite have the compassion yet, or the compassion level is not strong enough yet. You're compassionate towards the Vietnamese, but you're not compassionate towards the Chinese, for example, towards the Malaysians, for example. When you have real compassion, it's for everyone. When you have love, real love, you love not only your children, but also everyone else's children as well. All right? Well, did we answer all your questions today? Okay, then we stop here today. Thank you all.